Hi book lovers, I'm going to talk about this amazing book called The Fault in Our Stars. A super challenging book for me because it's about two couples or a couple that has gone through quite a lot in life and they are both suffering from the big C, cancer. And it was a book about them going on their journey to search for things that they wanted to do together and eventually ended up suffering from their health challenges, and the book was really challenging. That's all I have to say. So what's the first kind of like takeaway from this book for me? It was hard. I took considerable amount of time to actually read it, maybe a couple of weeks, and I didn't want to rush it. I just took one page at a time, two pages at a time. And the reason why it was hard to read a book such as this one is because of how the writer shined a light on cancer patient. Now in this case there were two characters involved. One is Augustus Gus, a gentleman, a nice guy, but found out later in the book that he had cancer. He has fallen in love with Hazel, who happens to have her own set of health challenges, also a cancer patient, who relies on this oxygen tank to breathe, to survive every single day. I can just imagine how hard it would be like to, first of all, carry this oxygen tank with you everywhere you go. And also the idea that you are surviving on these two plastic tubes that's coming out from your nose. And the book shine the challenges of a cancer patient, and it was really hard for me. So some of the things that I had to get myself into the mode of reading the book was that I'm so used to the idea that I can plan for the year ahead, and that's all right? I can think about what I want to be like in the next 4 to 5 years. What are the trips that I'm going to take in the next few months? Where do I want to go? Where do I want to eat? Those are the things that I usually think about from day to day. Now for cancer patients, it's a little bit different. What if the doc says that you only have 1 month or 2 months to live, knowing that you only have like 60 days in your life to be with the most important people around you, and what are you going to do with those 60 days? It's going to be really tough, knowing that after that 60 days you will not be able to bring your loved ones with you, and the things that you care most about you to wherever you're going, if there is actually a place to go. So the book shines that kind of lifestyle, which was an interesting read for me because I never knew that part of life. The rawness of the book, covering things like people care for cancer patients because they want to do something good for themselves, but for a cancer patient's point of view, some may see it as a way to actually get help and get free things, which is very strange kind of environment for me to put myself into when I was reading the book. So that's just how the book is all about how a cancer patient would live his or her life, the aspirations that comes along with it, and whether or not those aspirations will come to fruition or to come true is going to be another thing to worry about. The risk of traveling, in this case Hazel wanted to travel overseas and she had this health challenge that she has to go through and to bring her gas tank with her. The uphill challenges of her trying to convince her doctor and her family to do so, even though it might risk her life, but this is the only one thing that she would do. So it was a risk, it was a challenge, and the character had to braved that, and she eventually together with Gus managed to go on this trip to seek for what they wanted to do, right? And that comes to my second point, second takeaway, that what you perceive or what you imagine an outcome to be may not necessarily turn out the way you want it in life, right? And that's what the two characters actually face in the book. They wanted to find an author who Hazel was really interested in meeting, and she expected him to be this amazing guy, this philosopher who wrote this amazing book that inspired her about cancer patients, and it was very raw to that extent. So she traveled there and eventually met him, but the character, that author, wasn't what I was expecting it to be. You would think that someone who meets a cancer patient would feel forgiving, caring to the person, but this guy was the reverse. The rawness of him coming at them was so intense that I was wondering, is this real life? Could this possibly be happening in the real world? I mean, why I don't see why it can't be, and that's what I really like about the book. It really challenges you to think things differently. It's not one of those kind of books that it's about two lovers who have cancer and they eventually got together and then of course some pass away. It's not as simple as that. It's the way it was written and how the dialogue happens to unfold that causes a lot of friction and a lot of uncomfortness for the reader, in a good way, in a way that you would think this is probably what will happen in the real world. Right? No sugarcoating in this sense. And of course, the last takeaway was the tragedy. I was told by my wife that there was a movie made out of this. I didn't know that there was a movie out of this. I didn't even know what the book was. I just thought the cover was interesting. That could be something interesting about stars. I didn't read any synopsis about the book, about the story, and I just took it and read it and got caught in it. So there is a movie out of it, made out of it, and it's apparently very famous. A lot of people felt sad after the movie ended because it had a sad ending. But the third takeaway I would want to share is that I would recommend those who have watched the movie to read the book, because there were a lot of dialogues and elements in it as to how it ended. For example, Gus knows that he was going to die already, and he was losing a lot of weight, and he was going to surrender to cancer. So what he did was he put his friends together to kind of simulate a pre-funeral for him, and he would be there to actually see it unfold. So what is this pre-funeral is about? When you go to a funeral, everyone takes their turns to tell about how great this person is and how much he or she meant to him. And that's what Gus wanted. He actually experienced his funeral before he actually died. And of course, Hazel was devastated when he left her. She found out quite through the phone and of course through Gus's mom. It was a tragedy. She was supposed to die first, thinking that Gus was healthy or who has already recovered from cancer. But at the end, life pushes us in different directions, and in this case the book ends with Gus actually dying first, and of course Hazel staying behind and surviving cancer. So it was really, really hard. And the journey they took together, that brief time being together as boyfriend, girlfriend, never thought that they would find a life partner in such a short life that they are living. Which brings me back to the idea of how shortness our life is. So this book is pretty awesome about remembering the greatness of life, that all our lives are valuable, that we should be grateful for it, we should live it to our fullest. and I never take it for granted. And this book reminds me that, and I wish I'm grateful for it. And it also makes me feel for cancer patients, and it's something unfair, you would say. In the book, they covered, the writer covered a little bit about what cancer patients are perceived, and it wasn't really a nice way of putting it for me. I mean, and I don't want to share it in this channel because it's not something that I want to pass on. So that's my take for this book. Pretty short one. Can't say much about it because it's fictional, and there's a lot of colors to it. So I really would highly recommend you guys picking up this book. If not, actually just watch the movie and see how it goes. I'm not going to watch the movie. I think the book is just awesome. And there you have it. So don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be sharing a lot more books in the future. And also, if you are interested in buying a Kindle, Kindle Malaysia is supporting this channel, and we're working together to create more videos such as this one with other book lovers, and hopefully next year to create an event for us to get together to share more books and to learn from each other, or to learn from the books that we've read. So hit the subscribe button below, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!